With this session update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. Republican Senator Carla Nelson and DFL Representative Jennifer Schultz held a press conference to introduce a bill that they say will reduce the cost of prescription drugs by increasing market competition through increased access to generic pharmaceuticals. Here's that press conference.
Welcome to the press conference on Senate File 990. One of the best opportunities to significantly reduce the cost of prescription drugs through market competition. I'm so pleased that Representative Jennifer Schultz is with us. She is the chief author in the House, and I'm State Senator Carla Nelson, the chief author in the Senate. I live in Rochester, thrilled to represent Rochester and Olmsted County in the Minnesota Senate. With that, we'll kick it over to Representative Schultz so she can speak about the area she represents as well. Representative Schultz.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Representative Jen Schultz, and I represent District 7A, which is East Duluth. And I'm really grateful that Senator Nelson agreed to chief author this in the Senate. I introduced this last session with chief author in the Senate at that time, Senator Draheim. And I worked closely with one of my constituents who brought this to my attention, David Spurl, who's a PharmD and researcher at Essentia Healthcare. And I was at a conference at the Mayo Clinic and met Eric Tishy, who further developed and worked closely with David Spurl on developing the language. But the goal of this bill is to make pharmaceutical prescription drugs called biosimilars competitive with biologics, to reduce the cost to consumers and make it more competitive. Right now, biologics have a monopoly, essentially, and are making it very cost prohibitive for people to afford their drugs. So this bill hopefully will reduce the burden on taxpayers. And I'm really glad that so many stakeholders came together to work on the language. And my goal is to get this passed this session. And again, I'm grateful that Senator Nelson agreed to chief author it. And I will turn it over back to Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Representative Schultz. Obviously, reducing the risk to patients through biosimilar insurance coverage parity is the goal. And as I said, it is the biologics are the significant driver of prescription drug spending in the United States, accounting for about 40% of total prescription drug spending from biologics. And then biosimilars are those lower priced versions of these brand name biologics, and they've got no clinical meaningful difference in safety, purity, or potency when compared to the brand name product. And in most instances, there could be numerous biosimilars produced by different companies. And so we want to make sure that the market competition allows Minnesota patients to get those particular biosimilars or be eligible to get those biosimilars, providing that is what their doctor has prescribed. So again, it's about the most effective and affordable medication for our patients. So with that, let's turn it over to our speakers who have been working on this for a good period of time. We'll start with Dr. Eric Tishy. Dr. Tishy, if you could introduce yourself, and love to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm very thrilled to see this moving forward. I'm a doctor of pharmacy and vice chair of supply chain at Mayo Clinic. About a year and a half ago, a joint session was held in Rochester focused on prescription drug costs. And this is an area of academic focus for myself. Like Representative Schultz, I have an economics background as well. And the panel asked me, what is the number one thing that we can do to control prescription drug costs? And my answer was, well, very simply, biosimilars is the most powerful tool that we have in the future to reduce drug costs. After that session, Representative Schultz came up to me and let me know that she had someone who was already working on something in this space. And I was able to connect with Dr. Spurl, and we were then able to collaborate. And I'm just very impressed with the progress that this has made. I want to say that I think Representative Schultz and Representative Nelson might need to add the credentials of PharmD to their titles because they did such an excellent job of explaining the differences of these drugs from the brand to the biosimilar and the economic benefits that this will bring to the citizens of our state. I think one of the really important things is that this is a collaborative effort, and it really does resonate well. So we were very quickly, David and I were able to quickly get colleagues from North Memorial and Gillette, and Children's, and Alina all together, and there's really uniformity, Mayo and Essentia as well. So while I think the two of us are representing a larger team that's really focused on controlling drug costs. So thank you for your support, and I'll turn it over to David, who's really been involved with the nuts and bolts of this from the very beginning.
Thanks, Dr. Tishy and Senator Nelson and Rep. Schultz. Yeah, my name is David Sperlin. I'm the Senior Clinical Manager at Essentia, and my colleagues Roseanne Hines and Molly Skifstead and I came at this issue almost more from the side of direct patient care and seeing this issue play out for our patients in our day-to-day practice, and really look to our colleagues across the state on what we could do, and to our representatives in our state government to what we could do to this issue. So I'm thrilled at the bipartisan and bicameral support of this legislation, as well as the stakeholders across the state coming from different groups. Like Dr. Tishy said, I'm a pharmacist as well, but we've had great support from our physician colleagues and nursing colleagues and patient advocacy colleagues across the state. So really excited to be a part of this moving forward.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Spurl and Dr. Tishy and Representative Schultz. This is a great step forward. We are so pleased that we have bipartisan support, bicameral support, and most importantly, support for Minnesotans who are struggling with escalating high-cost prescription drugs. Now, we love these new drugs because they enhance the quality of life, they extend life, but we can no longer be content to only have the most expensive version of these drugs available to our constituents and to patients. And it reminds me a little bit of the old saying, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, to put that in perspective, it would be like saying, well, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but only if it is a red delicious apple from this orchard. Now, all the other orchards in the state or the nation are not eligible, even though those red delicious apples are meaningful exactly the same. And so this is just really going to open up better opportunities for our patients, for our constituents to get lower cost prescription drugs. So that's just kind of the bill in a nutshell. And we'll turn it open to questions. I think Rachel is getting those questions for us. And Representative Schultz, and well, we'll just see who should best answer the question. We'll probably be able to tell when we hear it. So look forward to hearing questions today.
All right. Well, thank you, folks. I do already have a question from Brian Bax. He put it in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask it. And this could probably more likely be for the doctors and medical officials. Can you offer examples of cost differences between the two types of drugs for a common ailment, or what kind of savings a biosimilar prescription could bring?
I would ask one of our physicians to lead off.
Dr. Tishy, do you want to take the first run at that, and then I can take it as another pharmacist colleague here?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. You know, I think in the first year after a biosimilar is launched, we expect to see somewhere around a 30 to 40% decrease in the price. These are some of the most expensive drugs on the market. The number one most expensive drug on the market, the drug with the highest spend, is a drug called Humira. That's $27 billion was spent last year on Humira. So if you reduce that by 30%, you're talking about $9 billion with a B of savings for the entire country. And that's just one drug. Many of the top 25 drugs are biosimilars. So it gives you an idea of the scale of the savings that we can see, and it will accelerate over time as there's more competition. Dr. Sperl, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I would just add that, these are medications that treat our patients with cancer, chronic rheumatic diseases, chronic gastrointestinal diseases, really important therapeutics for people with very severe disease. And so to the question of what classes are these medications in, that's primarily where they live. And also, I think for further expounding on the cost savings, I know multiple national groups have published some information about the projected savings of biosimilars as well. The Biosimilar Council, as well as so a group of Yale economists, came out with 1% initiatives for healthcare savings, and this was included as one of those options to save significant amounts in the current healthcare system. So,
just to add to that, the estimate is that $54 billion would be saved over 10 years with biosimilar parity. And I think that comes from the Biosimilar Council, if I remember correctly. So I'll be glad to get you that reference. But it's a significant amount of money. And I believe that money needs to be savings for the patients. Should be lower cost that helps protect the patient's pocketbook.
All right, a question from Dana Ferguson. Have other states considered or passed proposals like this?
This is a nation leading. There have been some, I think, similar, smaller efforts perhaps that we've seen some already positive effects, but really doing a parity like this is a nation leading effort. And, I can't think of any state other than Minnesota that could lead on patient prescription drugs, lowering them through the cost of allowing market competition through biosimilars.
Okay, and then Shannon Lurkey, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, everybody. Do new drugs still have a period of time before biosimilars can come on the market? And would this have any effect down the line on research and development of new drugs?
I can take the second part. It would help with the research and development of I believe, new drugs. But I'm going to turn to our physicians, our pharmacists to actually speak to the protective period for new drugs. Dr. Tishy, can you take that?
Absolutely. So the typical period for new drugs is a little over 10 years. The interesting thing with biosimilars is because they're treated differently than standard chemical drugs, many of these drugs have been around for 25, 30 years and still haven't seen competition. So this was a very much needed change in the regulatory process that will help with competition for this space of drugs.
All right, next question from Brian Bax again. The mechanics of this, would doctors or pharmacists decide when to give which version of the drug? What in current law prevents that option now?
The intention obviously is that it is the physicians who prescribe, and I'll let our physicians continue on with that discussion.
Yeah, so this would allow the physicians to have the choice of which medication to prescribe. Currently, what allows that not to happen is the way that these are covered and some loopholes that are allowed for insurance companies and payers to dictate which product is used. And this would level that playing field and really bring that decision-making back to the prescriber along with the patient of which product to use.
Okay. Next question from Eric Escala. I see you have your hand up. Go ahead and ask your question.
Madam Chair, Senator Nelson, pushback from Pharma. What did it take? 1.5 years, 2 years to get insulin done? What's going to be the role of Big Pharma in the debate?
Oh, Eric, that's a good question. I believe it is the issue of the day, and I believe it's public support, public opinion, and this issue is so essential to bringing down those prescription drug costs. If you're not taking one of these biologics, I mean, it was hard for me to imagine how costly they are, and yet so effective. I have a friend, Cheryl, whose cost is $4,000 a month. And I've seen what happens when she can't get that drug. Now, that is, we are thankful that there are these fabulous drugs, but to know that there are biosimilars, kind of like what we would talk about in non-biologic drugs as generics. Can you imagine if we did not allow generics on the market? Well, that's kind of what's been happening here with the artificial tamping down of the use of biosimilars. So I'm hopeful that Big Pharma will concede, just as they did with generics, on let's let these equally meaningful drugs that are lower cost get to patients.
Well, I'm just going to add to that, Eric. You know, what's happening is that these drugs biosimilars are coming to market, but because of something called the rebate trap, where the brand name manufacturers will threaten to remove all their rebates, not just from their biologic, but potentially from other drugs, if the payer or the provider offers these biosimilars. So we have to remove that threat and address these rebate traps so there's more competition between biosimilars and biologics. And it allows payers or providers, hospitals and physicians to freely prescribe without that threat of removing rebates. So, you know, there's so much happening behind the scenes with rebates and discounts. We really need to make this information more transparent and make better decisions that benefit patients and consumers.
Well, Representative Schultz is right on about that. There's nothing like the disinfectant of sunlight, public sunlight and public involvement.
But $54 billion savings is going to get their attention, I would guess, over 10 years.
Well, yeah, and the pharmaceutical companies that, you know, the ones that are producing these biosimilars, they're gonna, you know, help us advocate to pass this. So really you're pitting pharmaceutical companies against each other, and maybe that will neutralize them.
Is there a win-win?
That's a great point. You know, I think so. Pharma is not a monolith. There, you know, Pfizer and Amgen are two of the largest manufacturers, and they both are biosimilar producers. So there is support within pharma for this. And I think the healthiest thing about this is it causes pharma to focus on developing new and innovative therapies instead of trying to hold on to old therapies and continue to profit from things that have been available for 20 or 30 years. You know, they need to focus on new and innovative therapies. And that's where we want to be investing our dollars, not in old therapies.
Thanks.
Got another question from Shannon Lurkey. I'm just going to go ahead and ask it for you, Shannon. Pending that conversation, then, why would anyone want to use the more expensive drugs?
Oh, well, I think Rep. Schultz alluded to that. It is the pharmacy benefit managers. It is the rebates. And we've taken some small steps, which were hard to achieve, quite frankly, in the last couple of years, to shine some light on those rebates. And the problem with rebates, we typically like rebates, right? But in this case, the rebates are not going to the people that are buying the drug. They're going to the insurance companies and the pharmacy benefit managers. And so that really is the issue here, is the rebates, the pharmacy benefit managers, and they're not there supporting the consumer.
All right. Next question from Dana Ferguson. This is for Senator Nelson and Representative Schultz. Can you talk about how this bill fits with other proposals out there that also aim to bring down the cost of prescription drugs? And do you envision a package of bills passing this year?
Well, I hope so. I have some of those other bills as well to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, like having a flat copay, taking your pharmacy cost throughout the year and dividing it over 12 months instead of making people pay for those expensive drugs just in the first three or four months. I would hope there is a package of bills, but on the other hand, I would like to just get as many across the finish line as we can. There's a number of ways we can bring down prescription drugs, and I think it's an all hands on deck approach. We need to have all of those in play.
Yeah, Chair Liebling has House File 8, which is the pharmacy carve-out bill to allow the state to negotiate lower prices in volume-based purchasing. That this bill would complement that bill. And there's Representative Morrison's bill looking at an advisory council or board to review when prescription drug prices increase significantly. So that would also complement this bill. So I would love to see a package to address, one of the biggest drivers of healthcare costs are brand name pharmaceutical drugs. So we as a state need to step up and do something because we're sick of waiting for the federal government.
All right. I don't see any more questions or hands raised, so I'll kind of give everyone one more chance. If you have a question that wasn't asked, go ahead and raise your hand or shoot a message in the chat here. Oh, one new message. Brian Bax, has the bill been introduced yet?
Yes, in the Senate, it is Senate File 990, and I am looking forward to a hearing soon. So hopefully, and certainly I know that Chair Benson is very interested in this. Quite frankly, the Senate's been working on lowering the cost of prescription drugs for several years now, and so I'm very hopeful. And look forward to Representative Schultz work in the House.
Yeah, and this bill was introduced last session and got at least 2 hearings, and that House file was 3223.
All right. Eric Esco, you have your hand up again. Another question? If you're asking Eric, you're on mute.
Okay, boomer moment, sorry. When you watch the TV news, you see a lot of drug ads, and you often hear, it's a biologic, whatever that means, but you don't hear any ads saying it's a biosimilar. Do they not advertise, or why is one advertised and the other one isn't?
Well, one's a brand name and one is not. Think about how it works with generics. But we do count on our physicians and our pharmacists to help prescribe the pharmaceutical drug that works the best. But I do think those advertisements bring light to what's possible.
The pharmaceutical companies spend over $30 billion on marketing, sales, and lobbying. And the reason why biosimilars and generics are cheaper is because they're not willing to spend billions of dollars on that marketing and advertising.
Thanks.
Just to add to Eric's question, you might remember probably 10, 12 years ago, there was some thought of prohibiting advertisements for prescription drugs on TV, just thinking that it drives up the cost. But I put the trust in our medical community to regulate that, but it does bring attention.
Those ads do hire a lot of journalists, though.
Yes.
Good point, Eric.
Well, thank you so much for the great coverage. I want to thank Dr. Tishy and Dr. Spurl and Representative Schultz for their great work on this. I do believe that we can get this across the finish line, and it hopefully, as Rep Schultz said, it's one of many bills that are going to help hold down the cost on prescription drugs. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
To continue following these issues and more, watch legislative coverage Monday through Friday on the PBS Minnesota channel or visit our website, www.senate.mn/media.